was gonna watch. The Kerno? Excuse me. Where do I find that? Oh, here we go.
It has been a long time since 2012. Half of time it has been since 2012, because now we are 2 times 12. 2024. Today we'll be talking about one of the greatest viral marketing campaigns of all time.
Kony 2012 is the story of a man, Jason Russell, and his relentless quest to stop Ugandan warlord Joseph Kony.
There's product sales campaigns now, you got Feastables.
This is my old Feastables chocolate bar. And as you know, it tastes better than a Hershey's bar.
Oh my goodness.
And Sour Boys, go to sour.gg, or the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Remember that shit? That was like right after 2012.
Wasn't there people died who were doing the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge? Were there people that like died from it? That like had ALS? What's ALS? Let's look it up. Because I don't want to be ignorant. You know, that's one thing about me, is that's not what we do. We're trying to look it up. We're trying to know everything possible. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Fucking piece of shit. How do you sound it out? ALS. ALS, also known as motor neuron disease or Lou Gehrig's disease, in the United States is a rare but terminal neurodegenerative disorder that results in the progressive loss of both upper and lower motor neurons that normally control voluntary muscle contraction. Okay. Why were we pouring buckets of water on our head for that again? What was that about? Wasn't it just hot that summer? It was real hot that summer, right?
The reason I keep saying 2012 is because of Kony. Do you remember Kony? What the was up with that?
He really is one of the most evil people living today. Imagine the worst crime you can think of committing, and he'll have done it thousands of times over.
12 years ago, me and you, literally me and you, were making eye contact right now. We saw one of the most profound uses of social media as a platform for change that created the most epic grassroots campaign that aimed to change the world 12 years ago, 2012 Heimers. Yep. Where did this awesome campaign start? Well, it started with a little video called Kony 2012. It was uploaded March 5th, 2012, a little over 12 years ago. It seemingly became an overnight sensation. And by seemingly, I mean it was an overnight sensation. It amassed 100 million views in 6 days. What exactly was this Kony video about?
Humanity's greatest desire is to belong and connect.
I was about to go watch.
And now we see each other. We hear each other.
Grandpa, I love you. I love you.
Why want to take a picture?
Take a screenshot,
We share what we
bitch.
love, and it reminds us what we all have in common.
Dug out alive and well after 7.5 days.
If you believe in yourself, you will know how to ride a bike.
So now technically your device is on. Can you tell?
Well, the goal of the video was to put an end to the suffering of the children of Central Africa at the hands of a guy named Joseph Kony. This guy right here. Real piece of shit. The video was posted by a channel called Invisible Children. It's like a non-profit charity. And this whole thing started a movement. There wasn't without dramas, all right? You can't get 100 million views in 6 days and not lose your mind, can you? Before we get onto that though, we'll do a little bit of background on Kony, because Kony is relevant once again in 2024, and this shit blew my mind. I thought he was dead or something. I really don't know, but this man is truly evil incarnate. Joseph Kony is the leader of a shitty little group called the LRA, the Lord's Resistance Army. And what they do best is just terrorize communities in Central Africa, Uganda, the Congo, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Sudan. They've abducted children, turned them into child soldiers, and murdered a lot of people. Bro is quite literally the devil. Joseph Kony faces the following charges. I mean, this guy's an asshole. What the f? This is terrible. The Kony 2012 video was created to raise awareness of this guy as well as money to put a stop to these.
I want to see what the charges were. Kony faces what charges specifically? Jody Cosi, the anti-banner of the Lord's Resistance Army, faces serious charges related to war crimes, murder, intentionally directing attacks against civilian populations, pillaging, forced enlistment of children, crimes against humanity, murder, and enslavement. I'm sure he also done some other stuff.
These crimes against humanity, completely justifiable cause.
For 26 years, Kony has been kidnapping children into his rebel group, the LRA.
For what?
I am a perfect 10. I'm Jimmy Butler, and this is my perfect 10.
Oh, you can take the children and teach them anything because they're so small. So they could even, like, do attacks against their own village. Okay.
Turning the girls into slaves.
What?
And the boys into child soldiers.
And I mentioned, by the way, a few minutes ago, Kony's still around. And this was 12 years ago. So the Kony 2012 video that was created to raise awareness for this fucking massive problem, as well as money, it was created to raise money there, to put a stop to these crimes and all the shit, didn't exactly pan out the way that the writer, director, and star of the original video, Jason Russell, intended. It didn't go as intended. This is him, though. Look at him. He seems like a nice guy. He kind of reminds me of Owen Wilson's brother, the guy from Idiocracy. It's important to understand just how viral this video went. Like I said, 100 million views in 6 days. That's pretty huge, especially in 2012. That was a long fucking time ago. That was pre sort of real legit internet culture that we have now. The movie or video, probably more of a movie, Kony 2012, was incredibly captivating and compelling to watch. It hooked you. There was powerful music, all these crazy different little story points, gave you someone to root for, someone to connect with. You're rooting for the main guy, Jason, and the invisible children, and you connect with this character that is introduced, Jacob, character I use very loosely.
And who's this right here?
Jacob.
Who's Jacob?
Jacob is our friend in Africa.
It's been almost 10 years since Jacob and I became friends.
It's okay, they're nice. They're different than sharks.
But when my friends and I first met him in Uganda, in Central Africa, it was in very different circumstances.
Jacob is a friend of Jason's who he met 10 years before as a boy, and Jacob's brother was killed by Joseph Kony and the LRA.
The rebel, when they raise us again, then they will kill us. My brother tried to escape. Then they killed using panga. They cut his neck.
Did you see it?
I saw.
It is a video that is incredibly difficult to just watch and just not give a shit about. And a lot of people change their profile pictures overnight, I'm sure, as they often do. But I'm telling you, Kony 2012 was different, though. It was fucking different. And the purpose of the Kony video was to raise awareness of all sorts, and most importantly, to make Joseph Kony famous. They said in the video that the reason he hasn't been stopped yet and he's allowed to kind of do his own evil thing out in Central Africa is because 99% of the world's population doesn't have any idea who he is, because he is an African warlord. He's not a politician in New Jersey or something, so people in America don't give a shit.
It's obvious that Kony should be stopped. The problem is 99% of the planet doesn't know who he is. If they knew, Kony would have been stopped long ago.
Jason Russell and the Invisible Children, in making the Kony 2012 video, did an excellent job mobilizing viewers and kind of creating that call to action to make this dude famous. They called out celebrities. They called them culture makers.
2012. We are targeting 20 culture makers and 12 policymakers to use their power for good. Let's start with the 20 culture makers. Celebrities, athletes, and billionaires have a loud voice, and what they talk about spreads instantly.
And mobilize people to get their attention to create this gigantic mega platform that has never existed. It is pretty much what Mama Max did with Camden Gerard Davis, that whole fucking thing that happened a couple months ago. This is crazy. This is Mama Max pulled out the Kony 2012 playbook.
I remember
this is
that.
ridiculous. They picked celebrities to call out, politicians, anyone who could make the change that the Invisible Children wanted to see, and Jason Russell specifically.
Then we're going after policymakers, the ones that have the authority to see Kony captured. They decide if the advisors stay or leave. So we need to remind them that in this election year of fighting and name-calling.
But how does America have a rule over what's happening in South Africa? Or where is it? Where are we at? Whatever happens over there, how does America have anything to do with it? Like, I get we can stop it. I get that. I get that point of view. But, like, why? And I know it sounds mean. I know it does. But also, we need some money. We all need some money. It'd be nicer if we all had more money. It sucks what's going on in Africa. That sucks. So that's all I'm saying. I'm just asking a question at the end of the day.
No matter what side you're on, this is something we can all agree on.
They also make it clear that they talk to people in Washington to no success. I'm sure that happens a lot. I'm sure people in Washington don't give a shit about this kind of stuff. I mean, that makes sense.
When my friends and I came home from Uganda, we thought that if the government knew, they would do something to stop him. But everyone in Washington we talked to said there is no way the United States will ever get involved in a conflict where our national security or financial interests aren't at stake.
So anyways, incredibly effective. The message was heard by a lot of people, and the call to action, insane. The viewer came in, the importance of the power of the viewer, the influence of the social media user came in towards the end. You could buy a Kony 2012 action kit, which had posters, stickers, bracelets, and shit that you could take to the streets to plaster the face of Joseph Kony everywhere.
Lift the lid, and this is the first thing that you see. Fold the cardboard out of the way, and you can see a t-shirt, a badge, a sticker, and a couple of posters. Here's a closer look at the stickers, badge, and bracelets.
And through buying this, you would donate money to the Invisible Children so they could take down Joseph Kony. I think it's funny about the whole Washington thing and how they said that the American government doesn't involve themselves in conflicts that don't involve American interests. Such a America thing. I love that, dude. I love that, bro. I love that. I don't actually love that.
Yeah.
I'm saying I love that, and I don't mean it. So on top of all these calls to action and the mobilization of the masses, there was one night in particular that Jason and the Invisible Children wanted people to be ready to mobilize. That was April 20th, 2012, a month and a half after the original video went live.
All of these efforts will culminate on one day, April 20th, when we cover the night. This is the day when we will meet at sundown and blanket every street in every city till the sun comes up. We will be smart and we will be thorough. The rest of the world will go to bed Friday night and wake up to hundreds of thousands of posters demanding justice on every corner.
The night would be an event called Cover the Night, where we, the viewer, would do all of the legwork with all the action kits purchased from the website, and we would revolt for a fucking revolution. But the genius of marketing was very clear in this video. It paid off spectacularly. It fucking blew up, man, and it made people in the West feel like they were really contributing something bigger than themselves. One of the guys on our team, Satchel, he was very emotionally complex at the time, and he purchased an action kit with his allowance. He obviously didn't go out and participate in the cover of the night because he was like a 14-year-old, 15-year-old boy, and he wanted to stay home and game. But he also said that he had friends that did go out and they stayed out until 3:30 a.m. on Facebook. Oh my God. I was a 15-year-old idiot in 2012 and probably didn't give a shit. I was probably playing The Hunter Call of the Wild or whatever the game that came before that. The Hunter, I don't know. The one in the Crysis, the Crytek engine. That's what I was probably doing. We know that the movement was very effective. We know that the video went uber viral. We know they sold a lot of action kits, but was it actually effective and actually affecting things? They definitely raised a shit ton of money. The tax filings for the nonprofit of the Invisible Children from July 1st, 2011 to June 30th, 2012 are available publicly. And in that time, they raised $26.5 million and claimed 16 million of that as expenses, leaving them with $10 million of revenue, 17 million bucks at the end of the day. That is ridiculous. I like looking and seeing where nonprofits spend their money, and this one, $450,000 went to compensation of directors, which is pretty damn good. 2 million went to other compensations. Don't know what that means. Nice. 700,000 went to other. Don't know what that means either. 600K went to advertising and promotion, and 1.2 million went to travel costs. So $600,000 plus the 450K for the directors to make $26.5 million. Wow. The main guy, though, Jason Russell, paid himself $113,000. Feel like that's really not that much for the amount of work required probably to make that shit and manage all this stuff. It's got to be very overwhelming. They would try to be as transparent as possible at the time to show people where the money was going, and that was cool. You know, I like that. I love seeing that. Central African programs, Legacy Scholarship Fund, I mean, they spent a lot of money, dude. They spent a lot of money went around, and I would like to believe that it was used effectively. In spite of all that, obviously wouldn't be making this video if it was just a purely wholesome thing that had a lot of change. And like I said, Kosef Kony is still a fucking round in 2024. So
he's still a large?
Seemed things were pretty honest financially, but they might not has been as sincere as how that it was covered in the Joseph Kony films. This burgeoning response narrative to the Kony 2012 viral success sort of said that the things in the video were over sensationalized by Jason Russell and the Invisible Children, and that they dumbed down an incredibly complicated situation. It's almost like that's what goes viral. There was some fucked up shit said, though, written in the news. For example, this excerpt: the campaign reflects neither the realities of northern Uganda nor the attitudes of its people. Wow, that's not good. That's not good. Are you telling me that this was a lie? Are you telling me that this was a fucking lie? Oh, God. We do have actual examples of the seemingly accurate criticism of the Kony 2012 film. For example, it was screened in Uganda, and the people who watched it were so outraged by the film that they threw rocks at the screen.
There are some kind of people, there are some kind of NGO who are trying to mobilize funds using the atrocities committed in northern Uganda.
We wanted to see how our local people were killed.
Correct.
So these are all white men. These are feelings different from northern Uganda.
That is why sometimes
rocks are thrown, the screening comes to a halt, and the crowd scatters into the night.
This shit got so bad that the Invisible Children created a page on their website that was dedicated to addressing criticisms and concerns. It's now deleted, obviously, but it's archived on the Wayback. They responded.
Oh, it's on the Wayback Machine. Let's go.
To quite a few of the criticisms that were being thrown at them, such as the lobbying the government claims, the oversimplifying and complex issue claims, the exaggerating the impact of the LRA and their presence in Uganda despite the LRA leaving in 2006 claims, the white man's burden and savior complex claim, and the photos that were taken of the founders with guns and an LRA.
The photo of the founders with the guns. A story told by Jason Russell. Let me start by saying that the photo was a bad idea. We were young and we got caught up in the moment. It never meant to reflect on the organization. A photo of Bobby Lauren with the guns was taken in the LRA camp in DRC during the 2008 Juba peace walks. We were there to see Joseph Kony come to the table to sign the final peace agreement. The Sudan People's Liberation Army was surrounding our camp for protection since Sudan was mediating the peace talks. We wanted to talk to them and film and get their perspective. And because Bobby, Lauren, and I are friends, we had been doing this for 5 years. We thought it would be funny to bring back to our friends and family a joke photo. You know, haha, they have bazookas in their hands, but they're actually fighting for peace. The ironic thing about this photo is that I hate guns. I always have. Back in 2008, I wanted this war to end, like we all did, peacefully through peace talks. But Kony was not interested in that. He kept killing, but we still don't want war. Still don't want war. What do you think when America gets involved in a national conflict? What do you think that is? What do you think that is? Not a war? You think we're not in like 2 wars right now?
LRA camp. These are some of the biggest amongst many. While all this was going on online, they were getting panned and drugged. Jason Russell was being confronted and dragged to the point which he would fucking snap. He was getting harassed day and night. He even went on a vacation to try and escape everything, and he was still recognized and harassed. I mean, he made himself so famous that the pressure boiled up in his brain very badly, I guess, and he blew up, he exploded, and there is a video on TMZ titled The New Jason Russell Video, The Up Close Naked Meltdown. That's right, there was an up close naked meltdown apparently because of all this criticism and harassment.
Yeah.
He got 5150 as a result of this because he seemed like he was in danger to himself. At the hospital, he continued on his downward spiral, losing his mind. He was convinced the staff were trying to kill him. I mean, it was a true, proper psychotic breakdown as a result of just the whole world seemingly turning against you in just a minute. And he believed that he was doing the right thing. And then he took his clothes off and ran out into the street. He can only remember...
Why do they always take their clothes off? Can you just not have a mental breakdown with your clothes on? Could you not do it with clothes?
Slivers of what happened next. The horror on his mother's face when he was handcuffed and led away. Danica had rushed out to the house with the children and called his parents. He was taken to hospital. But I thought the staff wanted to kill me, I was convinced. They kept trying to give me drugs and I refused to take them. It got to the point where I was running around in my underwear, kicking in doors. I had 8 peoples holding me down. They eventually tied my arms and legs down to this bed and injected me. It was incredibly traumatizing. I was convinced I was going to die. There was also claims, and I'm pretty sure I sort of spread these claims. I heard this and I thought this was really funny. Unfortunately, kind of the guy I am there. There was claims he was jacking it in the street. I'm gonna be honest. People said he was jacking it in the street, and Oprah asked him if he was jacking it. That's pretty hilarious. Check out Oprah.
We also did I hear that? there were rumors of masturbation, but no one who was there ever said that was happening. Yeah, masturbation was one of the. I mean, I'm naked, so it's not a far extension of imagination that would be happening. But no, I don't remember any of that, and no one we knew that said.
This guy is charismatic and he's cool. He's very California, very Hollywood. I like him. Seems like a nice guy, even in spite of him potentially allegedly jerking it in the street. Anyways, all this shit was happening, and it still wasn't April 20th, the cover the night, but the day arrived for that, and it did not go as planned.
Wait, he done this before the cover the night thing? He done it like right before, just to get everyone on board. Like if you're on my side, you're gonna be on my side right now. I just strip down and start.
night, but
you gotta make sure who's on your side, man.
And it did not go as planned. I'm gonna be honest with you, fellas. It did not go as planned. By the way, I acknowledge there is a single female in the audience, and that's embarrassing. The cover the night thing didn't go very well because people were questioning how the movement was kind of turning around and seeing all this shit, seeing if it was worth it, and seeing him freak out, and a lot of people just didn't show up. And it seems like the people who did go out just vandalized shit, destroyed property, which is awesome. Very, very, very cool, right? And then Jason Russell became even more famous for allegedly jerking off in the street. Certainly everybody remembers it, and if you ask anyone my age who Joseph Kony is, they're gonna know. They're gonna be like, oh, the Kony 2012 guy? Yeah. Wasn't that the guy who jerked off on the street or whatever? Everyone still remembers the name Kony for sure. I mean, that's absolutely, but the Kony 2012 shit didn't solve anything. He didn't die. He's still being hunted by a hero in the shadows. And I use the word hero very subjectively, very, very lightly. I'm talking like It's an ironic usage of the word hero. This hero is lurking in the shadows. He may or may not be dead. He's a man of many faces, many disguises, many costumes. His name is Prigozhin. Oh my God, Big Boss. He died, though. He died. Blown up by Vladimir Putin. He got exploded because he marched on Moscow to prove point 8. He died. But I'm not gonna get too much into Russian geopolitics. But the Wagner Group and Prigozhin, maybe not. I think he's actually dead. They are after Kony. That's the newest news, is that Kony is being hunted by the Wagner Group. You may have heard of Yevgeny Prigozhin or the Wagner Group. They were created.
Wait. So Russia's over here. Russia's all the way over there. And you know what? More likely they're over here. They're around here where these the PMCs are in this area. Now, the PMCs are traveling. Fuck is this thing at? Where's Uganda, boys? Any Somalis in the room? Stand up. Not to like point you guys out, or I'm just saying, you know, keep doing you guys. I know you guys are having a hard time with the ships right now. I know that. Keep trying. Don't. I'm not advocating. We're gonna put the shovel down on that one. We're putting the shovel down. Where is Uganda at? Congo, Uganda. Uganda. So, wait, they're going to there. Why are they going there? Going there. Don't they have other shit to worry about? You're missing like a whole thing over here. You're going through a whole place. This is a bad place too, huh? They're just going straight to Uganda. Huh.
It's
oh shit, they're actually PMCs. I was just joking. I didn't know they called themselves private military contractors. That's weird.
Pro-Russian paramilitary group.
So
like
Uganda
a bunch of fucking
is the
mercenaries
scabs.
essentially, and they go do Russian stuff. They help in Ukraine against the Ukrainians. They helped in Syria against this whichever regime was not the Russian.
I think I heard about the PMC Wagner group. Once Russia started bringing its people out of the prisons to go fight on the Ukraine front lines, there were talks of PMCs also being hired that stood on the back fronts to catch if the fucking prisoners were running. Like, I swear to God, they shoot them. Like, if they're running from the battle, there's people there to make sure that they don't.
Propped up one. They also do some stuff in Africa, and I believe at one point we had a little bit of an open conflict with them during all the Syrian stuff, and we annihilated them a little bit. I think there's some story there, but I forget exactly what happened. It's interesting though, because it's an area of gray. It isn't Russia in the Middle East, in Africa, in doing this kind of stuff. It's not them directly, but it's Yevgeny Prigozhin. He's like he's a guy. He's dead now, I think. Is he Big Boss? I think he is.
Is that the guy who blew up
They
in
were
the
both
sky?
attacked by their own country, both shot down in the air, both operated in Africa. They were both idolized by their armies, and they're probably both alive in secret hospitals in Cyprus. I'm Cypriot. I have Cypriot genes and bloodlines, so me and maybe I'm Big Boss. I do believe Prigozhin is dead, though. Like I mentioned earlier, he marched his troops into fucking Rostov Oblast, a federal district, and then Putin denounced him as treason, denounced Wagner's actions as treason, and then now he's dead. He said that we are not traitor but patriot.
A lot of people have sacrificed their lives for Russia, and those that are trying to sow rebellion and create chaos will fail ultimately.
But bro's legacy lives on. Unfinished business, Joseph Kony, Kony 2012. Check this out. The Rolling Stone wrote an article talking about the Wagner Group hunting Joseph Kony, and they couldn't catch him in Africa. Post embarrassing Kony 2012 failure, American groups, government, military, I'm not exactly sure what, Delta Force, I fucking have no idea. Some American groups have been in Africa, and they've allegedly been within 72 hours of catching Mr. Kony, who I assume is moving like a Texas Ranger, cold camping. The Wagner Group is allegedly even closer. There are reasons to believe they have these fucking telegrams that are wide open, and you can just kind of see stuff. They attacked a village in Yemen where he had allegedly been, and sources claim he was 10 miles away from the village in his own cold camp, like a Texas Ranger in the 1880s. One actual bright side to this, something we know got done, the Wagner Group allegedly freed 14 children who were enslaved by the LRA for 8 years, which is incredible. They posted this on their Telegram. I mean, that's wild. As the result of operation by FICA in the Russian in the area of city of Samoyanda in the east of Central African Republic, 14 children who had been enslaved by terrorist group LRA for 8 years were freed. Children abducted in different parts of Central African Republic and DRC spent all these years as slaves in inhumane conditions on cannabis, corn, and cassava plantations. Camps in the LRA group, whose leadership is subject to international arrest warrants from the ICC, and which a special contingent of the U.S. Africa Command has been fighting for more than 10 years, were located very close to the recently expanded camp of the MINUSCA, peacekeeping force with a prominently Congolese contingent, from where coincidentally most of the released children. During the operation, 2 generals, a colonel, and 6 LRA militants were killed, and weapons and ammunition were captured. Russian specialists safely transported the children to Bangui. I don't fucking know what's going on here, but it seems like the Pentagon might be getting involved. The Wagner Group is getting involved. None of them can kill Joseph Kony. He's like a fucking ghost somehow. What the fuck? We found, are you telling me he's like Osama? Are you telling me this guy's like fucking Bin Laden out there?
We have caught and compromised to a permanent end Osama bin Laden.
At the end of the day, seems like we don't need a white guy dancing around making fucking propaganda to tell us to take action on shit and nonprofits and whatnot when it's a real actual situation like this. Seems like you need the military. You just need some kind of military unit. You need actual change, people who can actually do change. You need volunteers. You need people to quite literally take up arms and go find and kill this guy. The Wagner Group can't do it. We can't do it. American groups can't do it. What is going on? I don't huh? How do we help? How do we help? There's probably not a way to help. And that is the end of the video.
This is a great video, guys. This is a great video. I like the way he was. Good stuff. Good stuff.